Breaking news. Hitler versus Stalin. m0NESY is joining Falcons. I meant, in leaving G2. Nell made this report. And, well, now we've got to learn to love Falcons in the same way we love G2. Because why? Because they have NiKo. Because they have m0NESY. And guess what, baby? They set their eyes on KYOSUKE. Falcons are looking to make the blockbuster roster real. Your dream rosters, Falcons, make it come true. KYOSUKE has already denied wanting to join Falcons, but now that m0NESY is going to join Falcons, KYOSUKE said sure. So let's say this happens, and we have NiKo, KYOSUKE, m0NESY, Kixen, and Magisk. It's like the South Park meme where it's covered in his own jizz. You know what I mean? Like, that's how Kixen feels right now, because holy smokes, he's never been surrounded by so much talent. Guys, what else is there to say? This would be your lineup, okay? Together, they can all teach Zonic how to play count. I'm just joking. Complexity, also complete. A surprise run, all right? Vitality, Mouse, and Complexity. Let's look at these wins right now. Who the hell are we kidding? Name a team better than Complexity. Yes, they did lose to G2. Fine. But look at this streak. You thought it was just all mine versus chill guys? No. Ever since their 0-2 loss to Saw and that massive loss streak that they had, I think it was 13 losses in a row, they went up and they put together a Vitality of North America streak right here all the way through, even into the Yala Compass Qatar 2025 closed qualifiers, Tier 2, Europe, 2-0'd Imperial Valkyries. Why they do that for? Beat Passion UA. Then they come to PGL Bucharest, pick up their first LAN victory versus Falcons 2-0, LAN victory versus Furia 2-1. Got a map off G2, kind of threw this game, could have won in 2 maps. And then a LAN victory versus FaZe, man. And you know what else? Guess who's on FaZe Clan? Their old teammate, Alige Jablonowski, just moved to Europe to play with FaZe Clan, to leave the team that had him in Elo hell. 60 was out here drinking beers. Nyx, no one ever heard of him. Suddenly, boom, they're beating FaZe Clan with a liege. They're beating FaZe Clan, Tone. They could take down FaZe Clan. They could take down anybody. This is no joke. This roster, they just needed more people who would listen to JT unabashedly. Using big words slightly incorrect. I've been watching too much Sopranos. It's been subsistence levels here, Tone, for Complexity for so long. But now they're good earners. Okay? Complexity have done the unthinkable. 3 Americans. Get the Bud Light sponsorship, man. 60 was actually doing crazy work this whole event. Look at his trophies. Massive series versus Falcons. Massive series versus Furia. And honestly, this is where the rubber meets the road, because Nyx was actually looking fantastic from the debut through the losses, and 60 took some time to get comfortable. Now that he's comfortable, they're both good. Man, sky's the limit here for Complexity. Also, Apogee, the new underdogs, baby. I love the energy they're bringing. The best Polish lineup, most fun Polish lineup we've seen in some time, since back in the Kingwin days, the 9 days, Pasha biking to Paris to watch 9 play, even though he didn't know who Shuhei was. Shuhei made it to the major grand finals, but he's biking for 9 the whole time. We have been missing a real, true, full Polish. They got the top 5, top 100 Polish players together with their jacked coach ready. Apogee online playing their first LAN together, owning. So Apogee, did they not qualify though? Actually, they lost to Aurora. Oh, okay. So they play again tomorrow. No shame losing to Aurora. They play again tomorrow. They took down the Mongols 2-0. Astralis 2-0. Look out for Apogee. Very fun to watch. And, oh yeah, who's Aurora? Aurora, you thought was this lineup with Patsy and Kenzie. No! Aurora have dropped their lineup. In some very crazy, twisted, unbelievable turn of events, Aurora are now Turkish. Because there was something where in Turkey, you weren't allowed to have gambling sponsors. Some journalist made some thing about Eternal Fire and it's haram, and then they had gambling sponsors. Now their org didn't have enough money to support this team, so they had to go to Aurora. So boom, now they're on Aurora. It wouldn't seem like a big deal, but they all made these tweets, right? They all made these tweets seeming like very apologetic, you know, for having to switch organizations. Your anchor is very normal. It'll be the same way, but some developments in fact the upcoming period be not encouraged for Turkey. Sponsorship conditions inadequate. The decision was taking. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, why do you have to apologize? What's the big deal? You're just changing orgs. The fans are there for you, right? And then you have them going through so much recently because, okay, here they're parting away from Eternal Fire. That's one thing. But check out this tweet from Xantaris. I am no different than a corpse. I tried to do my best, but this is all. This is after a loss. A big problem with my back. I can't breathe. My stomach constantly burning. It hasn't gone away from 25 days. I take 5 pills a day and I walk around like I'm unconscious. Please excuse me. Wow. This is coming from Eternal Fire, who are now Aurora, who have been in every playoffs of the year, who have traveled to every single event, who are making deep runs. They're all old. Plus, they just switched organizations. Much stress for this roster. They've been on the grind, okay? Traveling more than anybody else all over the place. And poor Xantares during this, the one who runs into health problems. And guess what? I bet traveling doesn't make it better. So hopefully they find some success this year because they're yet to win their actual event, even though they're always making trophies and even made the finals of Blast Bounty. And also, hopefully this gets better because I don't know when you're going to get the time off. That's the hardest part, but Major's coming up. So best wishes. And if your fans aren't with you, they aren't real fans. That's what I got to say to all the Turkish fans out there. If there's any real problems, all right, come for me. You gotta come through me. I know how crazy you guys are too. Falcons, KYOSUKE. All right, back to the other news. Was popular, YouTube. Another day, another demo. Launders here, coming at you live from Lisbon. I'm here because I'm in purgatory. I'm only here in purgatory for 2 days. I could do that standing on my head. I'm going to Bucharest to cast because we just finished the Blast Open Lisbon 2025. What a spectacular crowd. I think I want to do a crowd ranking tier list because Lisbon are way up there. And I was thinking back on Singapore, on Lisbon, on London, experiencing some gratitude for all the amazing Counter-Strike crowds. But why do I have STEWIE on my screen? Because we got some news for you. Okay, so I just want to drop in and talk about the news a little bit because this one's very exciting, very close to my heart. STEWIE has joined Wildcard. Stew balls. 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 That was actually the whole point of the video, just to do that. Really wanted to get that in there. STEWIE is on Wildcard, and this is a move that Wildcard made, partially due to racism, but not the kind that you think. It's just because of the new VRS system, that if Wildcard, if they had Susp and Fuzi and Sonic, basically they had too many players, they would have had to play the European, potentially MRQ, because it would be an NA Europe split, and therefore would have to play through the strongest region possible. So for a second, we had Wildcard and m0NESY tied, almost tied in points. Okay, we could see right here, write a little article on this. And essentially it came down to one match. They played in the Astana qualifier for PGL. m0NESY had a lead. They won 2-0. They keep the lead. They've extended it. And that means that Wildcard have to play in the MRQ. But in order to get ahead of this, Wildcard made sure to grab another American. So they grabbed STEWIE so that if they had to play in the MRQ, which they now do, they will, well, barring some random match pops up, unlikely, they at least get to play in the NA MRQ, which is easier, unfortunately, than playing in the European MRQ. So quite an awkward situation. m0NESY, of course, did some impressive stuff. We saw them play through the qualifier here at Lisbon. They took down Furia. They played a couple of good maps. They beat Mongols on a map, and even throughout Pro League, they took a couple of strong wins and strong maps. They're not like a team right now. It's not like Liquid 2019 about like, oh, what if they win the major? They're not there right now, but at least they have some promising stuff going on. My take personally is that Malbs should just rejoin this team since G2 are totally cooked. And if Malbs and Lake and Rec all played together and everyone else is doing great, I think that we have got a pretty fantastic roster. I don't know if it could work. I bet Malbs has developed some sort of European accent and tendencies and stuff, but he's still ours. We claim him. Malbs to m0NESY, that's what I'm thinking. Yes, so shout out to m0NESY for solidifying their place. We didn't see them for a bit besides Pro League, and we were wondering where they were going to go. So that means that for Wildcard, we've got STEWIE playing, baby, and they also just received an invite to play at Rivals, I believe. So that will be STEWIE potentially on LAN again. And you know what happens when STEWIE's on LAN? Well, he wins events. STEWIE picked up Dallas last year in CS2. That's right, folks. STEWIE has won a tournament more recently than FaZe Clan in CS2. Can you believe that? Keep doubting him, though. He had 100 on entry stats at that event because that's how selfless our boy STEWIE is. The GOAT of NA. No STEWIE, no wins. Everything ended with STEWIE. That's the end. That's the fact. The closest thing we got after that was Twist going to FaZe Clan in Europe, but that's not the same thing, is it? So, Stew Balls, baby. All right. This is also the point at which we've got some new storylines coming up. Vitality, okay? Vitality come in 2019, zywoo, best player in the world, rookie debut. Stats are great, but it was kind of a surprise. Years go by, consistently number one, number two, number one, number two. Beating out our GOAT Simple. Now Vitality, you know, there's no more Masuda, there's no more Kyojin, there's no more Shocks, there's m0NESY now, right? We've got ROPS coming into the team. And if you want to talk about the European STEWIE, we always look at ROPS. Every team he joins wins. ROPS has just proven his value to a level that we didn't even think was possible. Already picking up 3 trophies with Vitality. And honestly, Vitality are literally on the way to an era. For the first time potentially in CS2, we had a couple of false prophets. FaZe clan back in the beginning of CS2. They beat Complexity in IEM Sydney. It looked like Complexity maybe were going to do something crazy at the beginning. Then FaZe took off all the second places. Then you had Na'Vi. They won the Copenhagen Major, fell off for a bit, came back for the summer. EWC, after that, doing super good, winning second place, crumbled at the Major. Now we've got Vitality, who look way stronger than Na'Vi did, especially because Na'Vi's Major win looked really weak in terms of their individual form. Vitality have all the superstars. Zywoo's the best player in the world right now. ROPS is the best solo site anchor. We learned that since leaving FaZe, they can't fill that gap. We see how good ROPS has been in these positions. And what's interesting and the really great part about this move is that Spinks has also benefited. It feels like m0NESY extremely well. I was doubting Brolin 100%, but I think he's been doing a great job calling. And I think Cyclone also has to come in the conversation this year for, you know, if he can be coach of the year with what he's been able to do post Shuhei. Still obviously have no doubts about Shuhei. What can you say? They created a system. I think it'd be more surprising if it didn't work after he left and they got a firepower upgrade. The question is, how long will it maintain? But I'm starting to gain hope that it's going to last because they've been playing very well and there are good mid-round moments for Brolin and everything like that. So happy about m0NESY. And the swap, it benefited both teams maybe, except m0NESY would be on a 16-match win streak if not for Vitality. m0NESY, that's the only team they've lost to on this long honeymoon. Look at this. Vitality lost best of 5 grand finals at Lisbon. 2-3, by the way. This is the most wins in a series that Vitality have ever suffered. 2 maps. If it was a best of 3, m0NESY would have won, for what it's worth. I think there were a couple fortunate moments towards the end of these maps, and Vitality actually looked a little bit beatable in those moments. But the fact that they came back and won means the world. And also, we're talking about map streaks at the moment. So, you know, they're the champ. They have an off day, they still win, right? They're still on a 10 win streak. They 13-0'd m0NESY to kick off the best of 5 grand final. 10 win streak on Inferno. They are now 4 on Train, where m0NESY and Vitality were tied at 3-3, 3-0, 3-0. Vitality keep winning on Train. We actually had Vitality's first loss here to m0NESY, 13-11 on Dust 2, and that's where it felt like maybe m0NESY can actually take the series. But for the moment, it feels like we are on the cusp of a true era, not in the way where FaZe were blowing their tournament window by getting second places, not in the way that Na'Vi won the major before they were good, then got good, and then blew the second major. Vitality right now, they have like all of the signs, and the real question is, would we ever see an era in CS2? I think it's going to happen. And as racist as I am, I would still love to see an era because it shows us the ceiling of the game. That's my talking point. I feel like that's the most special part about an era. And I think we need an MR12 to prove that a team can be consistent enough to win for months on end. I think so. People don't like dominance because they're pussies. You know, they don't like that. But you have to respect the fact that it shows everyone how good our game is. Think about all the people that complain about the state of the game. Well, they have much less ground to stand on if a team can show that they can stay #1 and beat everybody consistently for months, right? Same travel schedule, same game, LAN, and then you have all the players playing consistently well to do so. They're proving a lot for the sake of the game. I think there's something important about that, in my opinion. Zywoo moves on to 17 LAN MVPs, and Pimp said this to me. He said this to a few of us like a couple of years ago, and he was like, Zywoo, like, you know, he didn't have as many LANs as Simple. He probably wasn't a better player than Simple a couple of years ago, even if he was got #1. But he's like, in a few years, what do you think? Zywoo's just going to get tied with Simple and then fall off? No. He said, no, it's not going to happen. And look at him. He's passing Simple. He's still in his prime. He's now in his best team possible, and he's the best player on that team. He's going to get so many trophies, so many MVPs this year, and maybe another major. And now he enters the conversation for greatest player in history if he can keep up his individual level as well as winning. This is going to be the Device and Simple 2-in-1. Sort of, because the accolades don't mean everything, but if he's also going to be the #1 player in the world, which Device couldn't do, he's also going to get the multiple majors like Device could do at Simple couldn't, and he's also going to clearly have X Factor, which is the most important part, because m0NESY and Donk had more X Factor than him last year. Simple had more X Factor than him in CSGO. Zywoo, if he starts taking control of games, and I'm still waiting to see it consistently, he still plays low risk CS sometimes, then greatest of all time across all titles. That's going to be the main conversation for our boy Zywoo. And he's a nice guy. Can you believe it? Well, speaking of racism, Complexity 13-0'd Imperial Valkyries in the MRQ hunt. And I just want to say, I might be racist, but at least I'm not sexist. okay? Mongols, Eternal Fire, more popular than G2 and FaZe and PGL. And the only thing I thought was interesting about this, and I guess part of the reason that this is made into an article, is the fact that we've got, first of all, racist, right? That's the best part. Mongols, Eternal Fire, racist. They're incubating. They're trying to get good on playoffs, and they can beat almost every team. They just need to do it in a row, and they need to do it in playoffs. So fair. m0NESY on stage is like, unfortunately, like not even close to the player in group. So he's got a mental thing. He's got obstacles he's got to hop over. Eternal Fire as well, except they're old as hell, so they don't have that much time. But they're playing great CS. They're very fun to watch. They've got great watch parties going on. They're doing great for their regions. They are getting successful. And even though we've got Eternal Fire a little old, they're coming together as a younger team, like not playing together for that long. So I'm fine just waiting, see how good they get. But every barrier that these two teams have right now is mental, right? It's mental. It's not gameplay. It's not skill. It's not ability. It's not tactics. It's not crosshair placement. It's not individual. You know, they have all that. It's just mental. So we might be ushered into a new phase of the game where now these tier 2 like sort of underdog teams are just consistently the best teams. Teams like FaZe might just continue to suffer and fall off and disappear. Not even gonna lie, could happen. I said I would never call the end of FaZe. Yeah, I mean, eventually it will happen. Everyone says it's a fact that the sun will rise tomorrow. Eventually the sun will explode. So it's not always going to be a fact. It's just likely the sun will rise tomorrow. Okay, the Falcons are pretty good. I also want to do a tier list of who I think are real or fake. I think G2 are fake. All right, G2, FaZe. These teams, I mean, come Austin, I don't know. I think we're going to get the Apex and Gamer Legion teams looking good before Austin, and G2 and FaZe just going to disappoint extremely and then actually just fail at the major. Feels like that's actually going to happen. That's all I got for you. Oh, yeah, Blast Rivals moved to Copenhagen. Oy vey, this is the worst. I wanted to go to Mexico because I love Mexicans. Two favorite people, I think, Japanese game designers and Mexican chefs. If I have to be really racist for a second, those are my two favorite people. All right, thanks for watching. Code launders 10% off ASON's best CS2 headphones on the market.